Old Testament, Genesis. In the beginning, God creates the world and everything in it. Humanity begins with Adam and Eve, but their disobedience causes the first separation between humans and God. Violence and corruption grow until God sends a flood, saving only Noah, his family, and animals on the ark. After the flood, people attempt to build the Tower of Babel, and God scatters their languages. From here, the story narrows to one man, Abraham. God makes a covenant with him, promising that his descendants will become a great nation. Abraham's family grows, leading eventually to Joseph, who is sold into slavery by his brothers but rises to power in Egypt. This sets the stage for the next arc, Exodus and the Law. The Israelites, descendants of Abraham, are enslaved in Egypt. God raises Moses to lead them out. Through plagues and miracles, Moses brings them to freedom and receives the Ten Commandments at Mount Sinai. The people, however, constantly struggle with faith and obedience, leading to 40 years of wandering in the desert before reaching the edge of the Promised Land. The nation of Israel. Joshua leads the Israelites into the land of Canaan. Over time, the nation goes through cycles of obedience and failure. During the period of the judges, eventually the people demands kings. Saul becomes the first, but David is the most famous, defeating Goliath and uniting the kingdom. His son Solomon builds the temple in Jerusalem, but after him the nation splits into two kingdoms, Israel in the north and Judah in the south. Both fall into idolatry and injustice. Prophets arise, calling the people back to God and warning of judgment. Finally, the Assyrians conquer Israel, and the Babylonians conquer Judah, destroying the temple and exiling the people. The prophets and exile. During and after exile, prophets like Isaiah and Jeremiah speaks of both judgment and hope. They promise that God will restore his people and send a Messiah who will bring salvation. New Testament, the Gospels. The New Testament begins with the life of Jesus. Born in Bethlehem, he grows up in humble circumstances and begins teaching about the kingdom of God. His message centers on love, forgiveness, and the coming of God's reign. He performs miracles and gathers followers, but religious and political leaders see him as a threat. He is crucified, dies, and is buried. Christians believe that on the third day he rises from the dead, confirming his identity as the Messiah. The early church. After his resurrection, Jesus' followers spread his message. The book of Acts describes the growth of the early church, starting in Jerusalem and expanding across the Roman Empire. A key figure is Paul, once an enemy of Christians who becomes one of their greatest missionaries. He writes letters to various communities teaching and clarifying Christian beliefs. Revelation. The Bible closes with the book of Revelation, a vision of the end of history. It describes a final battle between God and evil, God's ultimate victory, and the creation of a new heaven and new earth where suffering and death are no more.